Everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. Well, we're coming back to you. You have been here, and thank you all for being here and staying with us. But it's great for me to see you all again. And it's been a long day. I know you've had so much information, and but I know it's information. You're flexible. You can put it all in perspective. But it's absolutely fascinating to see what's happening around the region. And I'm absolutely thrilled here to have this great panel here where we're looking really now at the free zone model. We're looking at the Dubai free zone model, but we're also hearing that there's been very, very interesting free zone models in other countries, which we're very, very excited about. So let me quickly introduce you. We have here His Excellency Arnaldo Castillo. He's the Minister for Economic Development from Honduras. Wonderful to see you, sir. Thank you so much. The Secretary General from the Colón Free Trade Zone in Panama, Fernando Cordero. Thank you so much for being with us. From Dubai, of course, we're delighted to have with us the Executive Chairman from the Dubai Multi-Commodities Center, the DMCC, Ahmed bin Sulayem. So great, of course, to have you here. And also the Deputy Chief Executive Officer from Dubai Silicon Oasis Authority from the UAE, Dr. Juma Matrooshi. So we have a great lineup here. We might have time for a few questions. I don't know if I get an iPad at some point, so just be thinking about it, because sometimes we get the questions in the last 5 minutes and then everybody wants to ask questions. And by that stage, Simon is pulling me off the stage. So, and we have a very important interview after this, so timekeeping, gentlemen, is essential. So I better be quiet here. Talk to me, Dr. Juma, if we can start with you, when we look at the Dubai model in one way, and really looking at the concept of private investment, and also, you know, making Dubai a hub for the region. How has this worked out and your role then within this?
Yeah, actually, what have happened is that the first free zones in Dubai started in 1985. Everybody knows it. That's JAFSA. And the last free zones, actually, Dubai World Trade Center in 2015. We have around 24 free zones in Dubai. The story is that when the model of the free zones started, as basically they were a gap into the economy in terms of the local economy and into the regional economy. The gap is that's been in Dubai, you have to have a full ownership of your business. But for international company to be located in Dubai, the free zone concept was really adopted from Shannon. That's where the first free zones was established, and with certain advantages. This is created a model where it was, the basic things for it was that mean the independence in terms of rules, regulations, and also to have flexibility and agility when it comes to doing business. That's this kind of a model that really picked up with Jebel Ali Free Zone in 1985. Then from there onward, a lot of clusters, a lot of free zones came up to service certain industries.
Ahmed, when we look at the work and the development really of DMCC, it's been a tremendous success in Dubai. But also talk to me about what you would say, again, that Dubai model, the appeal and the benefits, and really when it comes to, I think, economic diversification for any country here that might be looking at the development of a free zone. And it's not really about doing it in a small way, it's really about doing much more of a bigger free zone. That's when it really works and you see the advantages of scale.
Well, the concept of DMCC, to my luck, has been rejected a few times. And when I came to Dubai, I would believe maybe almost 6-8 months after graduation, that's when they approved the concept. DMCC was a small group. I joined the DMCC team in the conceptual stage before the announcement in 2002 in April. So I've been there for 18 years now. I saw the studies, I went on the business trips, visited India, Belgium, few of the key areas when it comes to diamond, gold, and other commodities. The original name was Dubai Metals and Commodities Center. The concept of a free zone was vital to attract these businesses to Dubai. They were not going to be there. Dubai at that time was just a gold souk, retail value, touristical city, but it wasn't a big gold hub. And at that time, I do recall, I think 90% of the gold trade was controlled by 4 or 5 big families or companies. That is not the case today. We had to adapt to changing conditions. So I would say the most challenging time for DMCC was focusing on which commodity to start with. So since Dubai was known to be a gold business, we started off with a number of gold refineries. One of the first, actually the first member to join DMCC is in this conference. His Excellency Isa Al-Gharir was one of the first members and still is a member with us. I do see his son who's handling a few other businesses in DMCC. So I take a lot of pride in that. Coming back to your point, DMCC was established to attract these businesses, to enable trade in Dubai, and to make the most out of Dubai's logistic strength. The airport has expanded multiple times since the establishment of DMCC. DP World is all over the globe now and expanding. One of the reasons I am here is that for about 6 or 7 years we've noticed that we didn't capture the Latin community.
Yes.
So we have promoted, I think I'm going a bit longer than I have to, but I'll close in 30 seconds.
No, but this is a very important point, so
Yeah.
I'm going to let you put this one home.
We noticed that we get a lot of businesses from African countries, Europe, a bit in China, and a lot from India. The DMCC's diamond story and gold story was seen as an Indian story, and will still attract a lot more businesses from India. But I noticed there was not much in the Latin community, and I asked questions on one of my business trips with the chamber. It was the one where we went to Sao Paulo, Paraguay, Argentina, but then I went to Cuba, and I met a second generation Arab immigrant living in Cuba, and I asked him, where do you go when you want to promote outside Cuba, internationally? He goes, internationally I go to Spain. That indicated that a lot of the people in the Latin community like to go to familiar environments, the same type of news, culture, food, that's important. So we did cover Spain, and this is my 3rd time in Panama. My first time visiting Panama was a coincidence, actually. My colleague Eli Eziko, a friend of mine, who was the president of the World Diamond Council, posted a few times on Facebook that he's in Panama. And I was the Kimberley process chair in 2016, and it wasn't an easy chairmanship. There was a bit of challenge here and there, and I decided to go to Venezuela. But on the way to Venezuela, there was a trade mission with the foreign ministry in Colombia, and I said, let's see what's in Panama. I was privileged to meet His Excellency Augusto, the former Minister of Commerce, who showed me around Panama, took me to Colón, met the people over there, and I'm still in touch with some of the people I met in 2016. I came back again in 2017, a very short trip. This is the least tense I've ever been coming to Panama, because I'm familiar with the people here. This is a longer relation. The hot initiative of DMCC is the recently launched coffee center. I know I'm digressing a little bit, but I'll touch a little bit on that. With the coffee center, I pushed it on PricewaterhouseCoopers to put that as the commodity we're going to look at. And that's why I joined Ahmed to Brazil and Argentina, Brazil and Brazil, because he knew we were focusing on coffee. In any case, the information I was getting from some in the market, including consultants, was not to touch coffees from Latin America, mainly because of the logistic disadvantage compared to Africa. What we did was we challenged things like that. So we rented a warehouse and we set up the facility, had some Brazilian coffees, shipped to Dubai, got processed, and there was no issues with the price. It was still competitive. I thought about that situation a lot, and since today we're getting a lot of coffees from Brazil, Colombia, even Cuba now is sending us coffees. But I think what happened is it's either outdated information where the coffee industry was just Nescafe and a regular coffee, not specialty and single origin coffee, when people were just drinking Arabica and Robusta. That's no longer the reality. What is DMCC's plan when it comes to the coffee center is to make sure that Dubai is the gateway for all coffees around the world. We provide blending facility, packaging facility, roasting facility, in an in a temperature controlled warehouse of 7,500 square meters. But that's not enough for DMCC. I've attended 2 coffee festivals.
I want you to save this because
Yes.
I love the coffee story and I love the whole.
I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, no. And I suppose, of course, here in Panama, we were very lucky to go visit and drink some of the geisha coffee. But Ambassador Fonseca has also given me some coffee when he was in Dubai. So I've tasted 2 different types. So there's great variety here. So without a doubt, there's plenty there. But no, I want to talk more about the tea and coffee business that you have at DMCC because, again, I think that's absolutely fascinating. Fernando, when we look back on your history, more than 20 years with the free zone industry right now, how have you seen it develop over the year? And particularly when we look at Panama, how important is it for this country, for this market, to make sure that this is where you really see expansion and everybody can take advantage?
Okay. Well, a little bit of history. The free zone is 70 years old, so we basically are the old guy here.
So you weren't around at the beginning, okay.
I wasn't here, but we've seen basically pretty much all kinds of business models. I mean, we started basically supplying ships. When the free zone was founded, the container hadn't been invented yet. That's how far back we go. And then from there, we had seen manufacturing of bicycles, of appliances, home appliances. These are the times when most of the Latin American countries have high tariffs. So it was easier and more economical to bring the goods to the free zone and then reassemble them and ship them to different countries. We've seen commerce, lots of commerce, which is basically the core business of the free zone, which is investors and business people going to Asia, which is basically the factory of the world, buying merchandise, bring them to the free zone, and then resell them to the major markets of the free zone, which are basically the Caribbean, the northern part of South America, and Central America all the way to Mexico. And most recently, we've seen now all this new wave of business, which is basically logistic distribution centers for multinationals, improving your supply chain, both more efficient and efficiently. If you do that basically from the offer that Panama has, not only the free zone, but the whole logistic offer. So we have many challenges right now. As you can imagine, we're 70 years old. We have an infrastructure that's different from other free zones that are planned and then built. This one was already built, and now we need to move forward to things like AI, blockchain. Basically, we see a lot of future in e-commerce. That's where we're basically putting all our efforts on, basically preparing the free zone for those kind of businesses. 3D printing is another area that we see as an area of growth.
And again, we were listening to the development too that's going on in the canal area and the development that's going to happen there, the projects that are in place, and the prospects that are in place. I mean,
Yes.
it's just, it's wonderful. It'll keep you all very busy for another 70 years at least. So long may you be here with it. Absolutely. Arnaldo, when you look at what's happening in Honduras, talk to us a little bit about the zones for employment and economic development, the ZD, so to speak. This again is something that you're really developing and growing.
Yes, basically, Dr. Juma, Jorge, and Ahmed, pleasure to be here. As well, thank you for the Chamber of Commerce of Dubai to invite us to be here. I have this opportunity to show what we have basically in each of our countries. Basically, the free zone concept in Honduras is not something new. We've been working on free zones since 1985, more or less. But we have developed and we have approved by Constitution a new concept, which is the free or the sedes which are economic and development zones, more or less what Shenzhen was many years ago. One of the only differences is that we are going to create a judge or judicial system that is going to be based on foreign judges. And that's something new, basically, not only in Central America, but in the whole Latin America. Again, it's approved by the Constitution. And what we are going to do is...
an international center, almost like what Dubai has at DIFC courts.
The same thing.
Okay, all right.
And
we're there.
We are also very close to sign agreements with the CIADI in the World Bank, so they can help us on the arbitrage portion of the business, as well as we've been talking, very close to sign a agreement with the American Arbitrage Association, so they can help us work on some of the issues that we foresee in the future. What are we trying to create by doing that is basically a platform where the investors are going to feel safe to invest in Honduras. We are going to have judges from the US, maybe from Dubai as well. We've been talking with the Dubai Finance Center, so they can help us build this system in Honduras. You have to take into consideration that we are shipping right now about $7 billion out of the free zones that we have in Honduras. By creating this new platform, we foresee that we are going to probably double or probably go to triple that number in the next 5 to 6 years. We have about 57 companies that are interested in establishing businesses in Honduras under sedes, about 120,000 new job opportunities that we foresee to create in the next 5 years as well. We invite people like Ahmed, that to also buy Honduran coffee. It seems like he's been going around, with coffees from other countries in Latin America. Honduras, and I spoke to him this morning, is the 5th largest producer of coffee
and he
in
hasn't
the
been
world.
there yet?
And he hasn't been there yet.
Okay.
But he has an invitation for June, which, we expect for him to be there and try the Honduran coffee. Anyway, most of the operations that we have right now are engaged in manufacturing, especially in the textile business, and also in the agriculture sector. Very interesting. I just told you that Honduras basically is the 5th largest producer of coffee. We are the first exporter of sweet potato to Europe and Canada market. We are the 3rd producer of palm oil in Latin America, the first exporter of tilapia to the U.S., fresh tilapia to the U.S. market. Okay. But one of our problem is that we are not adding value to those products. And I believe that that's a great opportunity for the investors. We are very close to the U.S. market, basically 2 hours by plane, 2.5 days by container, 14 days to the Europe market as well.
Okay, we'll come back and look a little bit more on that because I want to talk to you about that investment concept. Obviously, Ahmed, come in on this one since you've got an invitation to Honduras. And also, I think, just carry on with the tea and coffee hub, because I think this was always fascinating when you started this, but it's actually become so much bigger. But also talk to us about how important a free zone is when it comes to contribution to a country's GDP.
Okay. Well, as I mentioned before, to have any of this turn into reality, we had to create the DMCC free zone. Some of the suggestions were maybe the free zone should be in the airport, less hassle, that's already bonded. Another recommendation was next to the gold souk. And at that time, in 2002, if you remember Dubai then, the DMCC location is not attractive.
It wasn't even there, yes.
Past Metropolitan, I already feel like I'm leaving Dubai when I was driving to the location. So until 2007 and 8, it was a construction site till we moved into Al Mas Tower. There's a lot of success stories in DMCC, and I was touching on the most challenging times. There were 2 challenging moments: setting it up in the beginning, there's a lot of criticism that Dubai doesn't have the background to it. It needs the KP office set up, and we did all of that.
We don't hear too much of that anymore, huh?
No, we're good now. We're on the verge of being the largest diamond center in the world in a couple of years, and I am pushing to make sure that Dubai is also going to be one of the largest, if not the largest, coffee center in the world as well. Focusing on the Dubai's logistic strength, and it might seem far-fetched for some listening to me right now, but I can tell you for the last 5 years, Dubai has been the largest re-exporter of tea in the world, with 60% of the world. That's one of the reasons I pushed for coffee. The other more important reason is that everybody in the UAE community, especially the Arab community, will appreciate DMCC focusing on coffee, because they no longer just drink Arabic coffee or Turkish coffee. They drink single origin coffees. They ask for specialty coffees, which is great news for the coffee industry in Latin America. The other challenging moment was 2008 during the global recession. We were about 1,300 companies at that time, and there was a lot of finger pointing happening. I remember one journalist said that there's too many free zones. We should cut cost here and there. A lot of experts came after the global recession, including S&P as well, which I find ironic. In any case, going forward, we decided to use the property oversupply or the property correction, whatever you want to call it, to our advantage. We started telling companies, you can afford to come to Dubai now. You can find good positions, good residential units for your management today, where in 5-10 years that you won't afford it. We had our best years from 2008. Yeah. Today we represent over 16,000 businesses. My target on my organization is to achieve over 30,000 businesses by 2025. Yes, it's an impossible target, but so was establishing DMCC the way we did. So we're going to keep pushing, and we'll see what comes up by 2025.
And I've absolutely no doubt that you're going to hit that target and probably go ahead, go above it. Dr. Juma, when we look at Silicon Oasis Authority, again, looking very much at establishing a tech hub in Dubai, how has that expansion worked too, and what are the sort of the key areas at the moment, and where next?
Actually, which you have mentioned in your earlier questions, is that about the contribution of the free zones. I think I'll touch on that.
Please.
Which is if you're looking at the Emirates of Dubai, it's contribute to almost 33% of the GDP in Dubai. That things. Actually, the free zones really have, as Ahmed have stated, they are hitting the 30,000 companies. Actually, there are in Dubai at this existing times around 41,000 companies in all the free zones, which is hiring around 385,000 people.
And also, I just want to add that in your another role that you have, another hat you wear, of course, is looking after all of the free zones in your position too as Assistant to the Secretary General there. So again, but all free zones are not created equally there as well. So where are you seeing the strength really in the free zones in Dubai?
Well, you just actually, as Ahmed said, sometimes some people might come and say, well, in Dubai you have many free zones. You have to consolidate or something like that. Actually, the beauty of Dubai is that it's have created these things. Each industries looked and specialized in certain segment of the economy, and that's push really that segment of the economy higher in terms of its contribution into the economy. This is very, very, very important elements. The other thing is that, which you mentioned, Dubai Silicon Oasis it's a high tech kind of a free zones. You're looking at the Javza, and you look at the airport. They are mostly into the logistics. The beauty of it, all the free zones in Dubai complement each other.
Now, gentlemen here, Arnaldo, please, just if I can start with you. We're up against the clock again. We're on the express free zone conversation, I'm afraid. Talk to me just quickly, and just keep this in mind for all of you, perhaps, to just send a message out there for the investors. Where's the big advantage? You mentioned some areas that would be very encouraging and some very appetizing for investors as well. But where's the big focus to actually come to Honduras to be able to add that value and to make it a win-win situation for you and investors to come?
Well, first of all, we have all the resources, especially natural resources. Second, I think that we have 9 million people. 62% of the population in Honduras is under 29. So we have a very young population. We have probably one of the largest bilingual population in Central America. And actually, I can say that maybe we have trilingual right now, Spanish, English, and Chinese. Okay, we basically keep about 300 kids per year in Taiwan and China studying Chinese and going to the university there. So other than that, we have created this road system to link the Pacific with the Atlantic. We are probably the only country in Central America that has 4 international airports, 3 big ports as well. So I think that those has basically, been some of the points in our advantage. I will say that it's politically stable as well. Again, where we are right now, we are in the middle of Central America.
Yes.
Again, I'm going to repeat this. We can be in Miami in 1.5, 2 hours, basically, with all the infrastructure that we are already, or that we have, and we've been built in the last 4 years.
Now, Fernando will probably say he's got a better geographical position, but a very advantageous one. In fact, everybody on this panel is geographically very endowed, so to speak, where we're talking about. So talk to me again, why do investors here? What is the big attraction for investors?
Well, it's basically connectivity. I mean, if I can resume it in just one word, it will be connectivity. The logistic offer that we have in Panama, it's basically, no matter what business you're in, if you want to improve your supply chain scenario, and your markets are Latin America or the Caribbean, if you are, let's say, a pharmaceutical company and you have products coming from Germany and from Asia, and your markets are around this area, you're in a very good position to improve your logistics by setting up operations in Panama. If you're a shoe company and you have goods coming from Asia as well, in different pricing, and then you want to do relabeling and that kind of thing, that's also a very good strategic move to move here. And so we're very price competitive. We have the dollar. We have a very mature financial system here in Panama. We have basically the best geisha coffee. So I invite you to go to Boquete and try some of that coffee. I think Dubai will be very, very well positioned having our coffee. So basically, to all the investors, basically do what most multinationals are doing, what the Chinese are doing. They're looking at Panama as a window to Latin America, both in and out. I mean, selling your products here, but also we're seeing that we can also be sort of like the purchasing center for many of the items. So that's, and finally, I would really like to thank the Dubai Chamber of Commerce for inviting us to the conference and to yourself. Thank you very much.
And of course, we're thrilled to be in Panama too. So it goes both ways on that one. Okay, Ahmed, apart from the wonderful hospitality we're also going to get at DMCC, the best tea, the best coffee, the model for the investor, I mean, what is it when you look at Panama and look at Latin America and the people that would want to come to DMCC?
Well, at this stage, it's very important for me to make sure that people are aware where we are in DMCC, what we're doing, and just from that discussion, ideas pop up, and we talk to. We need to talk and we need to explore. It's not going to be the same opportunities for traders in Panama or as opposed to Colombia and other places. There are other dynamics, and the same goes for Bogota, Cali, Medellin, and other places. So there's a lot more to explore. Looking into even in India, there's this assumption that we've covered India. I don't think we've scratched the surface. In 4 to 5 years, Surat might overtake Barat. There are changes happening all the time if you're not paying attention. That's very important from my side. I think what's important is as well to come to Dubai, come to our facilities, talk to our members. We represent 16,000 members. Pretty much all of them are ambassadors. If they're not happy, you'll hear about it before anyone else. And if they are, that's the best way. But I'm here, I'm very accessible. Just recently, before coming to stage, I met with a Panamanian coffee trader who found me on Instagram posting about coffee and this forum. And he's using our facility. It's happening. That's how fast business is happening. This is, I guess, the millennial way, if you will.
And indeed, for those of you who don't know Ahmed, you'll find him on Instagram every day. So there'll be plenty there, and you can contact him there. So it'll be a quick stop shop, if nothing else. Here's a man who's brought social media into business, and it works obviously very well for him when the coffee trader can find you on Instagram. That's a lovely story. I'm leaving you the closing word, Dr. Juma, in your role, obviously, with Silicon Oasis, but also with the wider Dubai duty-free. Or duty-free, forgive me, duty-free zone.
Yes. Actually, there are two aspects, if any successful for the free zones. I think one of them, that's the business excellence. You know, this is number one. Your business has to be in terms of are you going to serve those customers, our clients, to the best of that business, or they will have to depart and go somewhere else. The other thing is that we are looking at the economic contribution, which is a must.
And again, it's a very competitive world, so they can
Absolutely.
go wherever they want. So exactly,
Absolutely.
You've all got to actually have that great model that really attracts people, and it has to be a big win-win financial and economic model for everybody. Thank you so much. This model is over for now. So once again, Dr. Juma, thank you so much. Ahmed bin Sulayem from DMCC, Fernando Cordero from the Colon Free Trade in Panama, and His Excellency Arnaldo Castillo. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed that. Thank you all. A lot of information in a very short time. So well done to all of you. Thank you.